Month is Sarcoidosis Awareness Month. It's a disease where parts of the body develop clumps of immune system cells. It interferes with normal organ function. There's a lot of things to it. We're going to let the doctors talk about it, but it's really important discussion, and it's also something that I've been living with for the last 20 plus years. So Dr. Rohit Gupta, the director of Temple University's sarcoidosis program, is here. Mr. Leroy Herbert, who, like me, is a patient and dealing with this as well. You've been living with sarcoid for like 3 decades.
At least 3 decades. My original diagnosis was in the 80s.
Okay.
And it took a while for them to actually diagnose sarcoids. They thought it was several other diseases, lupus, leukemia, things like that.
Okay. Dr. Gupta, I started talking about it, and I don't think most people fully understand, but explain it to us. What is sarcoidosis?
Yeah, so sarcoidosis is an interesting disease. It's not a rare disease. It's a disease which is inflammatory in nature, that body's immune system is overactive. Why is a big problem. We were talking about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
We don't know what exactly triggers the immune system, but this inflammation keeps on going on and damaging the body itself. So it's a disease which can involve multiple organs of the body, and depending on the organs which are involved, you have symptoms.
So it's interesting because it impacts people differently. For me, it spread through my lungs. I ended up with lung fibrosis, and then it pretty much settled down. For you, what happened?
For me, it was different. It infiltrated not only the lungs, but also the heart, the lymphatic system, the kidneys, and the liver.
Okay, and as it continues to spread, it stopped your activity? Like, how have you had to deal with this?
Well, it curtailed a lot of the activities because you tend to be tired, sluggish, fatigued. I had a lot of weight loss. So what you want to do, you can't do anymore. Okay. You curtail it. But as you progress, you start to build yourself back up.
What do people need to do? I don't know about Mr. Leroy, but for me, my diagnosis was almost accidental. Like, I was having an x-ray for something completely unrelated, and they saw fibrosis.
Yeah.
What do people need to look out for?
So this is very interesting, and many of the diagnoses are actually incidental. So, people get x-rays for some reason, and then we see lymph node enlargement. People get something, as you just pointed out, and then something else is caught up, and then we look for symptoms. But what we need to look out for is if patients or people have symptoms of anything which is not fitting whatever their diagnoses are. Sometimes we need to look out for a unifying diagnosis. We call that in the medical business. We say, if multiple things are going on in the body, somebody needs to look out, okay, is there one diagnosis which combines these all processes together?
Right.
And that's sometimes helpful, but again, other times, this is an asymptomatic disease, meaning patients or people don't have any symptoms, like in your case, and you just find that out, and you just then progress to make sure that other organs are not involved, and if something is involved, what are we going to do about it?
The people that I've spoken to, you hear about this. I remember when I was diagnosed and they said stage 4 sarcoidosis, my mother starts crying. Now it's been 20 years for me, 30 years for you. You can live with this. Like, you can be okay with this.
You can live with it primarily if you follow directions of your doctors, you take care of yourself, you get enough rest. And yes, you can live with it, but if you don't do what's necessary, it could have other results.
And that's the challenge, that people need to see their doctor, need to follow instructions and do the right thing.
Yeah, and this is another part of sarcoidosis which is very intriguing. Sometimes the disease resolves and patients don't have problems. Sometimes it keeps on having these problems where ups and downs are there in the medical picture. And other times patients just keep on progressing, even with aggressive medical therapy. So that's why we have to be cautious. And when you just said stage 4, it's not a true stage 4 disease if you think about comparison to cancer and all, but it is scary, and what we just need to do is to look at the whole body, how you're doing, and continue to try to make it better.
Yes.
I appreciate you both coming in. Both of us are on a different but a maintenance plan, medicine and what have you, and living our lives. And Doc, we appreciate you. And you guys should come back so we can continue to stay on top of this, continue to answer people's questions, because there's so much we don't know about sarcoidosis.
Definitely. True. I think the progress which is now being made in this field hopefully will answer some of these questions.
Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having us.
We're going to keep living our best life
That's
with
right.
the help, Doc.
Doctors.
Thank you.
Absolutely.